All music is the same. It's just a new set of lyrics and a new backbeat.
You named your children after famous musicians, one being Gabriel. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. As a mentor and major influence, what do you think of his musical path of late?
Of late, that means the last record.
Right.
The latest record.
Well, let's say the last 10, 15 years.
10, 15 years. Well, I like most of it. I do, and I've tried. I bought the new one just a couple of weeks ago, and I'm trying to get into it, but for some reason, maybe I'm listening late when we've done shows, and I'm in the bus and I'm tired, and I listen to it, and then it doesn't really. I don't know. I seem to have a hard time getting into it. I don't know if it's the music or if I need perhaps another environment or more time, or need to be more clear in the head. I don't know. But it's I like very much the one he did that called Oval. It's not him singing.
That was
different singers.
Yeah. That was wasn't that done for the Millennium Dome?
Yeah. Sure. And I think I saw some of the whatever
Performance.
thing, the performance thing they did. I think it's great. So I like that very much, and I like some. I mean, the Soul and Us albums too. Great music.
On the new album, am I correct to say there are several band members taking over the lead vocals? How does this enhance the feel of the music?
I think it's been done before, because Hassel's singing is like, sometimes it's like 50-50. I mean, on stage too, it's I mean, it's always different, but Hassel's been singing with us even at the time when he wasn't a member of the band. He was singing, taking high parts that I couldn't sing, to add a different flavor vocals. And I mean, since then he's been singing and tried to divide it into some kind of a 50-50 thing, and now to make it even more diverse or bigger sounding, we have Daniel Gilden also singing a couple of lead things, but mostly vocal harmony things.
The songwriting process is like it's like pulling teeth for some people. Sometimes lyrics simply get put together so that it rhymes and flows. Being so prolific with so many projects, how do your lyrics come about?
Ooh, I think usually I am when I'm doing writing a song, writing a demo, I try to do some kind of a scratch vocal and lyric thing to get the basic idea, but then I tend to polish, go over it many times and move things, use different words, try to find the right words to not only rhyme, but to make, I don't know, to make a nice twist every now and then, and I don't know how to say it in English, but it's like a double meaning thing, because I don't want it to be too plain, too obvious, and if people after listening 25 times they discover something in the lyrics, oh wow,
that's what he was talking about.
Yeah, so that kind of thing, and I spend usually I think more time on the lyrics than on the music. Music comes very easy.
The Flower Kings, Car Mechanic, Transatlantic, and so on and so forth. What's the attraction of playing with so many different band formations?
Yeah, I think it's the way to make a living, actually, to play in different bands. Because if you're that lucky, you just can't play your favorite music all the time. But sometimes you aren't, so you gotta pay the bill anyway. So it leads me to play in different bands sometimes, which I maybe not prefer musically, but I'm trying to take a thinner path right now and try to get into more the music I like, and maybe cut down on my luxurious expensives and try to play good music instead.
Well, I gotta hand it to any artist who can be a session player. To play with any kind of artist or music, or like you said, you were never introduced to progressive rock, and now you're into it, and you're not sure if, you know, if you were introduced to more of it, if you would like it or not. But it's interesting to see that you're playing in this band.
Yeah, what I meant is, maybe I said it wrong, that I never was into I didn't know nothing about progressive music until I heard when Ronnie gave me the record, and which I thought was good, and I liked it immediately. I liked the songs, I liked the a lot of rhythmic stuff. And
well, you mentioned before Vinnie Colaiuto.
Yeah.
Of course, he was immortalized in Joe's Garage by Frank Zappa. Maybe your name will come up in some song somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be.
Do you think a band website today is unavoidable, more so than shooting a video? What do you guys think?
It's more expensive to shoot a video, so it's a better way to promote the band, I think, economic-wise, to have a website, because it costs like $50 in the States to make up an address, and that's it.
Do you guys look after the web, or does somebody do that for you?
We have a guy in England, yes.
Well, that's even better if someone else is doing it for you.
Yeah. So it's, you know, I think when if you're supposed to make a video, you cannot do it, you know, properly if you're not having a good budget. So it's difficult.
The artwork on a Yes albums, for example, is designed by Roger Dean. Was there ever a consideration for the Flower Kings to go the same route with a particular artist, to sort of keep?
I don't think it ever happened that way.
No?
It's more like doing music, and then we realize there's a need for some artwork. Like in the last fine. Just what time was supposed to start play? Is it 9 o'clock? It's nothing that we plan on at the same time we write the songs. It's wanted to have someone, because I don't think I haven't found one that I say this is someone I want to work with for that.
Because
more like we try different people and then see how it feels, and so it's been different all the time.
Because whenever I look at a Yes art cover album, it's identifiable. You know right away. Okay, it's Yes. You know, Roger Dean identified the two of them together.
Yeah, I'm sure he's part of the success actually, and especially at that time, in the 70s. I think it's when you have the vinyl sleeves, it looks great. It did for other people too.
Yeah.
I think it sure helps.
You mentioned that there are fake bootlegs, copies of the Quebec limited edition in circulation. There's a reason behind this. Having lived in Montreal myself for many years, I can see why the Flower Kings could score very well there. How was the audience reception?
Very good. We were almost shocked the first time we went.
Really?
Yeah, it was in '97, I think. It was
his
first gig with the band.
Yeah, and I remember we had I don't recall the name of the venue.
Oh no, I was thinking of the Club Soda. That's where you played.
Yeah, the last Montreal. We played in '97.
Yeah.
In Quebec City.
Quebec City, okay.
Yeah, and anyway, when we arrived at the venue, I mean, it was almost Beatlemania, you know, and it was the first gig with it. Everyone was screaming, and I don't know, we did an encore, and even after that, they stood for half an hour, and they didn't give up.
Yeah, I think it, I don't know, it seems like a traditional progressive music in Quebec. We played Quebec a couple of times, we played Montreal this year.
Yeah, Montreal was almost the same.
Yeah, it's the same, so I think maybe we can play other places also. We haven't tried it yet, but it seems perfect with the good venues.
I read a review on the band The Tangents album, and in Search of Music That Died Alone. It was described as being very English school of progressive rock. What other forms would you say there are?
A review? Well, it's sort of really a review.
A write-up on it.
A write-up, yeah. It's not finished yet, so I think it's more someone described the music, and I guess it's the composer.
Well, basically pertaining to this notation, very English school of progressive rock. What other kinds are there?
Well, I consider progressive rock for me is not, I mean, not only the big four, it's not ELP and Yes and Crimson and Genesis, it's progressive rock for me started with bands like The Doors and Jimi Hendrix and Frank Zappa and others. That's progressive music to me, and even the Beatles, I mean, even I would say perhaps from Revolver, Sgt. Pepper, Magic the Mystery Tour, and White Album. I think that's progressive rock, progressive pop. So I think they laid out the path, and then King Crimson, Genesis, Yes. Yeah, that's the way I see it. So if people are saying that progressive music came along from the British Islands, I'd say it's not true, because I think these may be the bands that are most well known and have the greatest record sales.
Why do you think progressive rock fell out of favor after the 70s? Like during the 80s, it just like progressive went, it dropped off the edge of the chart.
Maybe because of the musical sounds changed a lot during the 80s. You know, a lot of sequence-based music. You know, they're starting to use sequencer more frequently. You know, in pop songs, in popular music. With drum machines, and you know, had all these synth bands like Kraftwerk and everything. And I think the whole scenery was different because it was kind of new, and when something is new in society, the society normally, you know, goes for it like a hungry crocodile or something. And then it's, you know, then they are full and they go back to the other stuff they listen to. So I think it was just a change of the way society looked. And it's always going to be like that in every kind of fashion, music, art, whatever. So I think it's just natural, like it should be.
The way things go.
Yeah.
The set list tends to change from show to show as well as the arrangements of the songs. Have you ever considered having a set list vote on the net as the Rolling Stones did?
I think we already did. Yeah, when we played America last time, didn't we?
Yeah, we had a...
Like, I mean, not formally, it's just more like someone was asking songs you want to hear, and then suddenly people started sending in the votes for favorite songs, and I think we may not have played exactly that set, but I think we also knew, beforehand what they would vote for. It's kind of, and I think you know from reading the reviews and hearing what people ask for on the shows, and they're asking, can you play this song? If you play many gigs, you get a feeling of what songs people want to hear. And it's usually the most ambitious stuff that they want to hear, and a few others like.
Listening to radio these days, now I get the feeling that the interest in producing timeless music is foregone for shooting for the moment and grabbing the bucks. How do you guys see it? Of course, he's singing about it, so.
Well, I think it's true, but I mean it's. I think we could say that perhaps in the late '60s and. There was more artistic freedom. It was, I would say, the beginning, the 50s and the 60s, beginning of the 60s, it was a time when producers formed the music scene, and there were singers and bands, and they were, you know, dependent on the producer, and then I would say in the late 60s and beginning of the 70s, it was more like the bands are taking over, and they had the chance to prove that their ideas were actually something that you could make a profit out of, make their big projects, and suddenly were interested in seeing what is this big project, this novel, this concept album thing, but that's been pop. And I mean, you can only look at the Beatles from the first songs, "Love Me Do," and that's what they did in the end. It's a very big step, it's a giant step.
I think nowadays also the record companies are signing artists on a short time level, I think during the 70s and 60s and beginning of 80s, the companies let the bands, you know, experiment and maybe release 3-4 albums before they were cut off the deal. So nowadays it never happens, you know. If you don't have one single hit, you know, you're out of the business, and perhaps you are ending up doing one record in the best cases, you know. Sometimes they sign just an artist to release two singles and that's it, because they are not selling. So it's different. It's very different to try new things today, to have the opportunity to experiment over a long time.
But correct me if I'm wrong, but the Beatles were not really allowed to experiment until they sold a lot of albums.
I don't know.
But
I think
didn't even have
the record companies are in a hurry these days.
Well, they only see the bottom line.
Yeah.
As far as developing the act is really irrelevant.
Yeah.
Saxophone has been featured in progressive rock, but I don't believe trumpet has. Now, how did you decide to include this on the album?
I think that's I mean, one good reason. We haven't heard it in progressive that much. So I think knowing the fact that we wanted to do something different. So and I know that Sultan played with this trumpet player, and Jonas and Sultan know this guy, and they talked about him. I never heard it. I trusted these guys. They say he's a great guy. I said, why don't we have him play one of the songs on the album? So they did, and they did a recording at the studio, and it was the first time I heard him play, actually. I think, and I may have heard a jazz or television or something. I don't recognize the guy. It was just a name. I trusted that. It's just another trick to make the album kind of an adventure. So when you listen to the album, suddenly comes something that is completely different, and it made it sound exactly like Flower Kings, but that's the whole point of it. Because then that song that one goes into kind of crossfades into Flower Kings too, and I think you need to find something every time that is something that's really unexpected. That's the way I see it. Because I'd hate to make the same album over and over again, just different songs. And it's like taking a risk. And some people like it, and some people thought it was a saxophone and said it was awful.
My goodness, they know their instruments, don't they?
And he writes for a magazine too, so horrible.
Right, for a metal magazine.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll do it. Well, I think I'm powered out here. That's all my questions.
Is it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Fine.
Well, I'd like to thank you.